Yeah, recording started. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is dinner plate stacks. Okay, so you have infinite number of stacks which is arranged in a row, which are numbered from left to right. So, and each of the stack has the same capacity. And you have to implement this dinner plate class. This is like instructor which initializes the object with minimum capacity of stacks. Which is like a given positive integer value into leftmost with size less than capacity, and pop it is like return the value at the top of the rightmost non-empty stack and removes it from the stack and returns all stacks are empty. And this is like value of the stack index and removes it from that stack and returns -1 with the stack with given index. Here they are in the capacity of, so we are pushing 1, 2, and now we are pushing 3 also, 4 also, and 5.
Hey, Shashank, your voice actually breaks in between sometimes.
We change the network.
Yeah.
Am I audible clear now?
Okay, try again.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is a dinner plates class. Yeah, and we are pushing first 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? The stacks are now like this.
Uh-huh.
So 1, 3, and 5, right?
Yeah, so we push 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So stack capacity is 2.
2.
So therefore 1, 2 is on one stack, 3, 4 is another, and 5 is on another.
And so we have to pop it, so it returns this. I mean, in the form the first stack, top element, right? And
Yeah,
then again,
because we want to pop at index 0.
Yes. Yeah. And then he's pushing 20 since this stack is empty. So 20 is pushing. But why not 20 at this place? Third.
So I think the requirement is like you need to push any element for because you'll have these all stacks, right? And if any of the stacks is partially filled or is empty, okay, so the first stack which is empty or partially filled, you need to push plates there first. So you need to always fill from left to right.
Left to right.
Yeah.
Oh, they have mentioned, mentioned also.
If the capacity is not met, then you need to keep filling till the capacity is met. Yeah.
And again, now the capacity that side is full, so he's putting 20 this side. And again, he's popping from 0. So this element will be removed. Again, pop at stack 2. So stack 2 means this one. I mean, 5, top 5, 21 is removed. And if it is only pop, then it will return the last, top of the last stack, right?
So he will start from the right to left now. If you are just giving pop.
Pop, yeah.
So whatever is remaining from right to left, he starts popping.
Popping the element here. And again, he'll pop then 4 from here, since it is a pop. And then he will pop 3. And then 1. And now the stack itself is, the thing is there. Yeah. So it's then straightforward. Stack problem only simulate it, right? The normal how we do stacks.
Yeah, it is, but there are some challenges, correct? The one is about pushing. You cannot push at always at the end, right? So you need to fill in all the stacks of plates which are not filled to its capacity from left to right first. And if they are all full, then only you can go and create another stack, or maybe go to the very last stack which is not filled with its capacity and keep pushing there. Yeah. So I would say you can't use just a normal stack, but you need some more help from other data structures along with the stack, right?
Yeah,
so then actually, yeah.
Something like that, yeah, to keep track of.
Correct. So to keep, first of all, we need some collection of stacks because we'll have different groups of stacks, right? Because if the capacity overflows, we need to create another stack. So a single stack won't work. And
Yes.
yeah, and then we need something else to actually monitor that also.
Oh, there you
Okay, yeah.
go. Yeah. So same way, I've used one list and one stack here. Just going through one of the implementation.
Okay, so
So
before going in the implementation, okay,
okay. Yeah.
so you are saying that you used a list
List and a stack.
and a stack. So
Both
stack
are
is
different.
just a single stack or it is a multiple?
Single
Correct.
stack. Single stack.
Okay, so you are using a single stack and then a list. So what does this list represent?
List will represent the queries queue. I mean, like what you are pushing, popping that. I mean that will keep track of. You can say two stacks I'm using, kind of like this.
Okay, I
Yeah.
think this is something different.
Yeah.
So let's go through your implementation then in that case.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So first, this is the constructor. So I'm instantiating the capacity and queue and stack. Let's see. Now, as long as the first stack is not empty, we just check whether the top of the stack is less than the length of this stack. This stack, right? I mean, while pushing, I'm saying. Let me see. This code is working. This is a wrong code.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I actually did not understand the question only. Like, I got that we are implementing some sort of a stack,
Mhm.
but did not get the whole idea.
We discussed the questions just now. You are not there.
Yeah, I joined a little bit late, but still, like, reading through it, I did not follow it.
Okay. So it's simple, like you have to follow the rules, right? Let's say the capacity of the stack is 2, right? So we are pushing 1 and we are pushing 2. So 1 and 2 is pushed in this stack. This you are saying one stack, no? This one. The size of the stack is always 2, right? Then 3 and 4 we are pushing, so 4 will go on the top, and at last we are pushing 5. Makes sense, right? And then just let pop at stack 0. So stack 0 is having 1 and 2, so it will pop 2 from there. This 2 will be popped. And then push 20. So whenever you find that the beginning of the stack is empty, because when you pop 2, this place is vacant, so you'll push 20 here. Then 21, everything is full, you go here. And again, you have to pop at 0, you remove this one. And stack 2, you remove from the second stack above 5. And if pop is given, then you go from right to left, and whichever is the first element, you push it. Pop it. That's it. These are the simple rules here.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are going through that, right? Okay. Your code is here. I think that is. Yeah. Okay. So this is the capacity. Okay. I mean the constructor which we are initializing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your queue which will record how many stacks are available. Like you have 3 stacks, right? So it will keep track of, I mean, every time which stack is available and which stack is not available, because depending on that, open push. Yeah, go ahead.
So you said we have 3 stacks?
No, I'm saying if 3 stacks are there, you have to keep track of which stack stop is empty or not
Yeah,
empty,
yeah. So
right?
any number of stacks, whatever we have, so we need to keep a track. That is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. And this is the stack which will keep track of all the records of plate, right?
So this is your main stack where you are
Main
pushing
stack
the
here.
flows.
And this is helping this stack to check whether this particular stack is empty or vacant, something like that.
Okay, so
Right?
if it is full to capacity, you should not have any entry in this queue. Okay. So if it
Ah,
is not full to that capacity, then you should
then
have an entry in this queue, correct?
you, yes.
And then your queue should be in such a way that the leftmost stack, which has lesser capacity, should come first.
Yeah.
So you should have all the entries from left to right.
Right. So
Okay.
that you could, yeah.
Hmm. And then I think
And
the priority queue helps there, right?
this one, yes. You're
Okay.
correct.
Uh-huh.
So what you will check first whether that queue is empty. It's not right now. We'll check whether the top of the queue is less than the length of this, because he is keeping track of right which stack is empty or not. I mean that length. The top of the queue will give you the length, right? That what is how much this given stack is full.
Mhm.
I mean, this if there is still available stack, insert the plate, and this is checking the leftmost available index. This is smaller than the current size of the stack.
Yeah, so your self.queue says that your queue is not empty, correct?
Not yeah.
So it means you have some entry in that queue. It means some of the stacks which were from left to right, but are not at the very end, they are having some lesser capacity, so you can fill in there. So first you want to check whether you can fill those, right? So therefore you are going to this while loop.
And then checking
Okay.
yes.
So at every position of the queue, Q0 means what when you are
Top.
saying that?
Q0 means first element. I mean in the list.
Okay.
Like
So
yeah.
if the first element is lesser than the self stack, it means, okay, now your stack size, if it is, that is what it means, right? Length.
Yeah, it's the size of that list. I mean
Okay.
how much.
So it means that if you are not at the very end, because your all the stacks are complete with their capacity, so then only you will go to the end, right? So you are
Yeah.
trying to check that if that is the case, and then you are going to pop that. Okay, and also you are using another end.
To check the capacity whether it's full or not.
But in
So
the question, do we have like one stack or two stacks?
Single stack. Single
you
stack is
have a
the
list of stacks actually.
least of stack you can say.
So if you see on line 6, he is keeping list of stacks and you are given a capacity. So all your stacks have to be filled with that capacity. Okay. And then you keep on filling each and every stacks with that capacity from left to right. So whenever you fill one stack, then you move to the another stack. Then you add another stack in that self.stacks, whatever that
So
data
in
structure
the
is.
example one, like I have given two stacks because in the
Mhm.
input, first input is two.
No,
So,
no, it's not two stacks. It is capacity
Size.
two.
The size of each stack.
but then how
It is
many stacks do I have then?
You can have infinite stacks.
infinite stacks. As long as you find that one stack is full, go for the next step.
So this capacity only states a capacity of a single stack.
Two
Yeah.
stacks. So if I push one, I'll put it in my first stack, but still I have one more size left. So when I have to push, when there is a two push, that one will be replaced by two, or how does it work?
On the top of one will be two.
Oh, so these are like three stacks, one, two, then
Hmm.
the two size is over. So now we'll put three, four.
Yes, yes, yes. Model.
But what are these numbers representing?
These are the
Numbers are
values you want to push.
value what you want to push.
But that doesn't matter. Like we can put any number as long as it is within the capacity. That number doesn't matter.
No, that is what we want to push. That is the value we want to push.
But does that value have any significance with respect to capacity or just doesn't matter?
Any
That
value you
value
can.
has a significance when we want to pop it out and return.
So we have to pop the.
Yeah, we will have to pop it at any instance. So that is what actually it returns the output. If you look at the output array,
So
so that
what
it will
should
show.
be the top at the top? Because when we pop the topmost element. So in the stack, which element should be at the top? Like the max element?
Two, no, nothing max. Why you are thinking? Let's say
Stack
one is
is
good,
just stack, right? So you keep on pushing whatever you get, whatever you are asked to push.
then two, then you are asking you to return the top. So two will be returned. So there is nothing called maximum minimum. Next time it is full. Let's say three you have to push. So it's putting three here and then
This is
followed by two.
normal stack. It's not a priority queue.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a weird question, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like I
Why weird?
can
It is.
map it to any use case.
It's a hard problem. Actually, if you go in hotels and all, what you say plates. I mean, on the top of the in a stack fashion, the plates are placed. Plates are placed, right?
It's not a weird question. It's a stack question, right? So they
Yeah,
have
it's
just made it more complex by adding some more
extra.
scope to it, right? So
Mm.
and
So when you
this
are
is
popping,
real time
which
scenarios.
element will you pop first?
If you have to pop it, then you go from right to left. Only pop. If they are not mentioned, then like you go
The
from this
rightmost stack, top element.
top. Anyways, you have to. That is the rule of the stack, right? Always you'll
Then
pop from the top.
we have this pop at index also. Okay. So how does this pop at index work though? Like which element are we popping? Like how is the indexing?
Index is like zero. They are writing no. So you go to the zero number stack. I mean 1 and 20. This one and pop the 21. This is what zero number stack. Then 3 4 is one number stack. 5 21 two number stack.
Returns 21. The stacks are now.
Done or any queries?
Okay,
So
yeah.
here we have three stacks, right? Like 1, 4, 3, and 21, 5. So when we says pop at stack 2, since we have like, so we are just keeping zeroth stack, stop element is index 0. First stack stop element is index 1 and second stack stop element is index 2. We take,
Index.
so this index represents the number of stack. So this is the
No.
second stack and the top element.
Oh, yeah. Zero means you go to zero number stack and just normal pop what we do in usual stack. Top element you return. If number is 1 here, then you go to one number stack 3 4 and pop the fourth top element.
Yeah, okay, got it. So that index is the number of the stack index.
Stack number, which
Stack
stack it is
number.
from where. Good. So this is like as long as our this I mean queue is not empty, right? And the first element we check whether if it is less than the length of a stack,
So it means you are not at the end. Okay.
not exactly. And now you take the first element and check at that particular position what is the value of the stack, right? And then you take the length of it till that point. What is the length?
Okay.
And if that is equal to your capacity, right?
Yeah, then you are full. You remove that from the queue. Okay.
Remove that from the stack. Yes.
Okay.
And if your this is empty, I mean, if not self of queue, that means queue is empty. Then you push
Normal
it
operation.
normal operation like queue. I mean, in that list, we are pushing the length of the stack.
So it means this is the first thing what you are. So this is a fresh.
Fresh one, yeah.
Yeah,
Open
you
new
don't have anything. Okay.
into previous
So then you push that in the queue heap.
queue. Exactly.
Mhm.
And if the first element of the queue that is equal to length of your stack, then just you start a new fresh like newly added stack, right? I mean that means this is full, so you need to add a new stack to get elements, and just you take that element and append it at the zeroth index in the main stack, not the helping stack.
What is the priority queue you are using for?
Priority to check whether the stacks are available or not, like more number of stacks or which stack is available, so that will give you.
So it is sorting on what basis, the priority queue? The size of the stack?
First year, it's on based on the size of the stack.
It's not
Current
sorting
size,
based on the size of the stack.
not size, you can say current length of the stack based on that,
No,
right?
actually it will be the I index of the stack. Correct.
Until which index it is full, yeah, highest index you can say.
It should be the min heap. So you are pushing in this priority queue. Whenever you pop any element, pop at index. So
Yeah.
whenever you are popping at any index, you might pop out any element from any of the stacks, right? So that is going to reduce the capacity of that particular stack. So you are just going to push that index into the priority queue. So whenever you go for pushing, so you'll look in this priority queue. So whatever is the minimum index number, so you'll go to the stack and first push an element over there. So you fill that capacity first, and then you move on to the next stack, which is on the right side of that.
Of it, yeah.
Yeah. So for that, you keep looking at that priority queue, and that helps you going in that direction from left to right.
So in your heap, it is pushing the stack as well as the length.
Come again?
So in the heap, we are pushing the stack, the whole stack, and your list length of the stack.
Not the main stack we are pushing the helping stack, which keeps track of the main stack till what extent it's full or empty. This is sorry. This is what is a helping stack, right? Main stack is here we insert the elements. We just use this to track this main stack. Isn't it, Santosh?
Yeah, that is the main stack. Stack.
Please record the available stack. We'll use heap to quickly find the smallest available stack.
Hmm. Because let's say two stacks are full, right? Their length is 2, 2. Now there is one stack where only one element is there. So mean heap, it will give you that if you want to insert the element, so it will give you the index of the two number stack, right? So that you can post the element over there. In this case, what you can see, this is already full. I mean, 21 is full, 4, 3 is full, right? Now, if I have to push any element, so in mean heap will give you in which stack you have to go so that you can insert the element. And this here at this position itself on the top of the 5 you'll be pushing, right?
So what is the content of the heap? Like, is it these 21, 4, 3, and 5 is all pushed into the heap, and at the top will be 5 along with the length one.
No, content of the heap will be the length of the stack till which it is the main stack content will be their length will be stored in this helping stack. See, we are pushing this heap q dot heap push. In the queue, we are pushing the length of the stack till what extent it is full.
But then self.q will keep changing, right? All the stacks element will be there in the self.q.
No, but we are pushing the length, right? Not the content in queue.
The self. Oh, q you are heapifying and adding the length in that.
Yeah, not the content of that stack.
And what does q itself contains? I did not still get that part. Like what are we holding in q?
Q will keep track of the main stack to till what extent the element is full or which stack the element needs to be. When the let's say new element came, where it has to be pushed in which stack. So all those things it will keep track of. I mean, how many, it will record your available stack. We'll use the heap to find the smallest available stack.
Yeah, so it will do bookkeeping.
Kind of.
So, yeah, for each and every stack, which is the stacks, which is on line 6. So what capacity it is full. So that will be recorded in that .q, which is a heap.
Helping stack, yeah, heap, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just update the rightmost stack of it in the self.stacks.
Leftmost one.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a push, you need to go from left to right.
And if it is pop, you go from right to left.
If it is just pop, you go from right to left. But if it is a pop add, you can go to the any index.
So this is what we are doing in the pop. Like if this is not empty, my main stack is not empty, and there is no element. I mean, we are checking whether there is there any element on the top of the stack.
Mm-hmm.
If it returns false, that means we'll pop it.
Yeah, so you don't want to keep that when the stack is empty.
Mm.
Okay, that might happen because you use pop at stack index, right? So that might actually remove elements from that stack and not remove that stack from your stack list. Correct.
Stack list, yes.
Yeah, if it's empty. So therefore you do that over here. Okay.
Otherwise, just take the length of the stack -1 will give you like at which index we need to pop.
Very good. So you use a pop at stack for this. So you just empty that here and then use a pop at stack. Yeah, that is a very smart one way of doing.
Yeah.
So you are only working on 2 of the functions. Good. Okay.
And pop stack, if your index, you check like if they are giving you some index to pop, you just check whether that is valid or not. Because if they give 3, it doesn't make any sense, right? So we are checking that. And this is like we go to that, take that index, go into the main stack, pick that particular element, and then push that particular index into your helping stack Q1, right? And then
that you have to update in the heap also.
Heap, yeah.
Yeah, and then you pop it from that particular index from your main stack. Yeah, here you don't reduce or remove any of the stacks from your main stack list when they are empty. Correct.
Empty. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so that you do in the pop, and that makes sense. You don't want to do it every place, so it will be more confusing and more complicated. Yeah, so this is a better way of doing. Okay.
I didn't get this hip push part again because why are we not doing that in the when we are popping the last element, and why only on index?
Oh, which line?
The in the pop operation we are hippifying that self dot q again.
Pop operation. We are not hippifying anywhere.
No, pop at stack is there now. So
Okay. Pop at stack. You're saying. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, what is the doubt?
so why are we doing using that heap q dot heap push in pop?
We are just
Then.
pushing the index there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are not doing anything. We are just pushing the index. So the heap actually should take care of it. So whatever is the lower index should come up.
Was it an index or the length? We were pushing the length, right?
No, on line 51, we are just pushing the index, right?
Yeah, here I'm 51. I'm pushing the index.
Yeah,
Beginning.
but
Here I was pushing the length. Here.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that length actually why? Because you are at the last stack, right? So that is still an index.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, it is an
One.
index. Yeah.
Two. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. So now before pushing, your stack is empty. So your index will be, because length will be 0 in that case, right? So
Hmm.
therefore you are actually pushing the 0th index there.
As good as putting index it is. Yeah. But
Yeah,
only
it is
because.
it is index. You have to push an index always.
Yeah.
But the way you implemented it is slightly different.
Yeah.
So that is
For
what the
example, we are taking like uh, popping at index 2. So we are pushing that index 2 in that is like removing the top element of the second stack, right? So if we are uh, popping at index 2, at that time we are pushing index 2 into the heap. I didn't get that part. Like, why are we doing that?
which one?
Pick an I mean, it's confusing how we are using heap here. So, like,
No,
when
no,
you're
no, no. Listen, see, the heap used is very simple. So whenever you have to push the index of a particular stack when it is not full to this capacity, right? So whenever
Mm.
you come in the push, he is pushing here because this is the first time you are pushing any input there, right? So therefore that index will be the 0th index, correct?
Yeah.
That as simple as that. So he is only pushing it over here, and then
You
if
can
you
add
go,
Santosh. It will be more clear.
what?
Or annotation.
no, that's fine, right? So here you are only doing, is it not? So in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
push on line 23, whatever you have highlighted, so
Mm.
here if it is not self.q, what that means is your queue is empty, your heap is empty, correct?
Yes.
So when your heap is empty, you are going to push something in that heap. So whatever you are pushing, if you see the stacks length, okay, if your stacks are completely full or they are empty, okay, so if your stacks are empty, your index will be 0. So that 0 index you are pushing in the heap. But if you already had full stacks of capacity 222, whatever the number of stacks were, so you are starting another fresh stack now because previous ones were already full. So therefore, the length of the stacks, yeah. So that is what the statement is. So your length of stacks in that case, if you have already full two stacks, so you'll push in the third stack, right? So your length will be third. So that index you are pushing.
And the stack, if has only one element, that also will go in line number 23. One, it will, like,
Yeah.
the next element has to be. Yeah.
Because whenever you're pushing in a stack, you are just pushing a single value, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you know either the stack is completely empty or it is to the capacity. So if it is to the capacity, you have to go to the next stack.
Next stack. Yes.
So the priority queue is basically giving us the element where we need to push our element.
Mm. Not the element, I mean, index of the stack in which element needs to be pushed.
Well, okay. So the question states, if you read the question, see, he is using a priority queue. You can use anything. Okay. So the priority queue makes more sense here, at least as per his implementation. So what does the question says? Based on that, whatever data structure you are comfortable with, you can use. So he is using only one data structure like a queue, like a min heap. So he knows that the least element, if you are using a min heap, so min heap means whatever is on the top of the stack will be the minimum element. So he is using the index there.
Okay.
So only the indexes what have are not complete to its capacity of those stacks that he is pushing, right?
Now I got it. Yeah. So since you are popping the element, that stack is available now.
Right.
So we
But I
are
have a doubt, like, let's say this stack is for 2 and 3 we push, and the next stack is having 5. So the index 1 will be in my priority queue, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
Okay, index 1 will be, okay.
See what happens now when you are at the index 2, either you have filled the zeroth stack and now you are coming to 1, so you just filled 5 and you are about to fill 6. So that might be one case in a scenario. So in that case you will push that. So now either this was already empty or you started filling the way you are saying 2, 3 and 5 and then you wanted to push in the 6.
Yeah,
So at that time you know that you are at that particular index, correct?
yeah,
But if you were coming from pop at whatever that index, so you already had a 6, you just remove it. So you know that your stack 1, okay, has now reduced its capacity. So you can add that to your heap, right? So you can
yeah,
add this index to the heap in two places. One is when you push, right? Because it's
yeah.
a fresh stack.
Mhm.
Okay, so you can push that index, or when you pop it at an index. So when you are reducing a capacity of like in this case you have 5 6 also, then you remove 6. So you know that this is a candidate to be pushed in the heap now, number
Yeah,
one, right?
yeah.
So
so,
it's only two places you want to going to push that,
what
and the heap takes
happens?
care of it.
What happens if we push from a stack multiple times? Like if I push from the stack to multiple times, that time I will push that to multiple times to the priority queue. So will it not be like a duplicate and we will
But
get
always
Why
will,
you do that? You
because
you should not do it,
every
right?
time we call that pop, we are doing that.
No, so you need to implement in such a way that you should not push duplicates. So you should only push it. So whenever the index is actually reducing, the capacity is reducing, you push it. And once it is there, it is there. Correct.
hmm.
So when you are popping at an index, okay, you are again come to that particular place. Okay, if your heap is there, okay. Oh, so you are saying that how? Okay, so how are you implementing? Yeah, that is also a good question, Shashank. If you go to that pop at index, now we are actually assuming that our stack says only 2. If it was 5 and I keep on removing it from the same index, can we slightly go to that place, your
Yeah.
implementation pop index?
Yeah. One more question. If first part of this is equal to, we are putting this index, right? Like, uh, because in queue, what we will put? First, we will push 1 because it was empty, right? I mean, this is the minimum index that it will have. Now we are checking if this element is equal to length of the stack. So let's say I filled 6. Now length of the stack is 2, right? So I'll need to update 2 here also, right? Isn't it? Or how
No,
will
that
I match? How will it match with? I mean, how will it come to know that this stack is full?
well,
Because
that will be based on when you actually reach that capacity.
when I release the capacity,
When you reach the capacity, right?
yeah, but yeah. So, but how will this check that I have to start a new stack at this point?
So I,
This
I, I think you check that on line 14 when you come inside before this,
and
right?
then
Therefore, you have those two conditions.
hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
But what? Yeah. What? She was saying something. You
Yeah,
were saying something?
her question was like if we have a multiple entries of the same index of that same stack index, if we are popping at, because in this example we are only assuming that the capacity is 2, but if the capacity was 5 and we are coming to the same index stack and keep on popping it from that, so how are we actually adding that to that heap? Just want to see the implementation.
So even if it is duplicates, there is no problem in the heap, right? It will always give you the same, like whatever. I mean, that stack number only it will give always, because you are popping and so it gets reduced again. Minimum value will be for that stack only, right? Will it create any problem? I don't think. The
But then
duplicates.
we'll have many of them, right?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, a large number of queries if you do on that single stack itself, right?
Yeah, but then are we go? Yeah, it's fine if it's still there, but then how do we remove it?
I
So we do
haven't
it when we are pushing it, right? That
yeah,
should
but I
be.
haven't removed it anywhere.
You won't remove at pop add. Okay, let's see what you're doing here. If it's lesser than index, length of stacks and stack. Okay, this index is less than.
He is checking whether it's a valid index or not, and will check whether that particular index element is there or not. If it is element, then I push that index into my heap and I return the element corresponding to that index.
So you don't check the capacity here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you are pushing that over here. And can we slightly go up on the where you do checking of the capacity? I think you do it only in the push. Okay. Yeah. So you check if the capacity is okay, that is different. But here, len of self dot stacks self dot queue, the top one is equal to the capacity.
Which one? This.
No, the okay. So what is this part actually? Q zero less than self dot stack.
Q,
What does it mean?
Q0 is like the in the heap the first element, initial
Right, the
index.
top one.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
is less than the self
Length
dot
of the
stack.
main stack. Yeah,
Okay, so that means
is
okay,
still
the whole
element.
stack is empty.
Not whole stack. There could be one element also. I mean, either you can say whole stack or there could be one element, one more element needs to be put.
Okay,
It could
is
be
less
empty
than the
also.
self dot stacks. No, so stacks actually are the main stack list.
Main
Correct.
stack. Yeah, and
Yeah.
queue
So
is a
if
heap.
you yeah if you take so it means if the index is pointing to the last stack list index. Correct.
Yeah.
If it is not, okay, if it is less than that, okay, so it is inside, that is one thing, but still you have to remove it. Pop, okay, and if it is equal to self dot, so in that if the capacity is full you still remove it.
From there. Yeah.
We remove the filled stack from the queue of the available stack. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we can move to next or any other. Like we'll have to do one more dry run kind of.
Oh no, actually it's okay, that's fine. uh,
Sometimes confuse. Yeah.
if you want I can run through my C++ code.
Sure, sure, sure. Let's go through.
I'm also having the same implementation almost.
I have one more question. So when we are trying to pop the element,
Okay.
can you open your codes, Shashank?
Santosh is sharing after this.
Okay, you want to go there? Go ahead, Shashank.
So no problem. Let me share it. Yeah. Go ahead. This is mine. First, I check whether, let's say, the
No,
stack
can
is
you can you go to your push stack function?
push. Okay, let's go to push. Yes, go ahead.
So we are checking the capacity here. So we will push to a stack from leftmost stack wherever the capacity is not full.
Line, can you specify which line you are talking?
The line number 14. So we are popping it from the heap because its capacity is full and that index is no more valid to be
Mhm.
popped.
So duplicates won't be there.
Not actually popped. Uh, that index capacity is full. So pop for pop it will be valid, right?
It's doing like, let's say you fold that, what you say, initially 2 was there and you got 3 now, right? So this index was there in your queue, this list, one zeroth index was there, 0 number. Now you found that this is equal. If this is equal, it will be popped out, right? And now what will happen? If this is, I mean, it will pop it out, right? Isn't it? Does that make sense? That point?
Why are
Because
we
the
but like when we are maintaining this heap queue so that we know which is the minimum index at which I can pop the elements out.
yeah, but this is full, no? This capacity is full, so there is no point in keeping it in there, right? Now you'll have to go for the next stack. This one, you'll have to append the next stack, and his index will be pushed into the priority queue, because now this priority queue will tell where you need to push the elements. Isn't it, Santosh? Is the interpretation correct or?
Yeah.
Dot queue we
So
are
if you look at line 15, the way you have written, we remove the filled stack from queue of available stacks. So that is what you are trying to remove there. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I completely don't follow the Python code, but you're looking at the comments and whatever I can interpret. Yeah, that is what actually I would do.
and we are pushing whatever the new value of the stack is after the pop.
Hmm.
We don't pop anything here. We actually are looking at the priority queue and do a bookkeeping there to see if there are any stacks indexes which are full filled with its capacity. So we just want to just eliminate them. So we come to the very latest one on the top of that priority queue, and that index we take and push any element what we want to push. Most of the times we won't do any popping also, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only here we are doing popping once that particular index is full.
Yeah.
The top of the priority queue will should always be um, the available index at
Correct.
which you can either push or pop.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that indexes will be different, right? Like I can pop from a different from a stack which is full, but I can
Okay.
push to an index which is available.
No, but once you pop it, you'll have to push that index. That's why no, it will keep track. Let's say you did it from the front. I mean, 0 and 1 stack was there. 2 was, one stack is full, and you popped it from the first stack, right? So we are at the same time we are pushing the index also, right? Now minif will update. Hey, the next time you have to push the element, you'll have to go to the 0th number stack, right? Does that make sense? How it's going like?
I'm able to understand how we are using priority queue to push and pop both.
We are not doing priority queue. We are not pushing elements using priority queue. We are
Like,
just maintaining the index, correct?
yeah, correct. The
Yeah.
index we are getting for pushing and pop at what index do we want to do that
So
operation.
whenever we come to pop at a stack, correct? So it means that there is something in that stack. So we are actually popping from that index. So it means that we are reducing the capacity of that particular stack. So that has to go in the priority queue. Is that
Hmm.
is at least that is clear, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So therefore, he's
because
pushing that value there. That's
yeah.
that's very simple to follow. And when you come to push, you need to look for whichever the earliest one from the left side index has a lesser capacity. And then at any point of time in pushing, we are just pushing a single value. So whenever the capacity it is lesser than a capacity, so it has at least space available for a single value, right? So whenever he sees a valid index, he just pushes that. And to get the valid index, he does all those bookkeeping in the priority queue also, to find if some other places we have already filled that value for some other way. So he just wants to remove that stacks, those indexes. So
So
the code looks bigger, but there are some corner cases you need to take care of it, and therefore that while loop comes into picture at the start of the push.
Yeah.
So, like when we are pushing an element into the stack, we are checking for the available stack where it can be pushed.
Mini will
Exactly.
automatically
Yeah.
give
So
you.
for
Yeah,
that,
yeah. Okay, exactly. That's what he's doing. Yeah.
we are using that priority queue. Like we are checking at the index, whatever the top of that priority queue is, if it is full or not, because that represents my leftmost available stack. If that
Right.
is full, then I'll pop it out.
So
Why do you pop it out?
That's what he does.
that particular element on the stack, I pop it out. I mean, I go to the stack.
Yeah.
In
So if he's going to actually go to a particular stack index, okay, and then if he sees, if
Can you
he if you go
push?
to that, he has to pop out because he has to push some element. So he's popping out before he's putting any element in that stack. So that makes sense, right? Either you
Yeah.
will do it before or after.
But if he's popping that index from here, for the pop also we are using the same priority queue. So isn't that conflicting?
So we have to use the same priority queue, right? Why it
Yeah,
should be conflicting?
yeah. So can you go of line number 14 of your code?
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
So here, you are seeing whether that self dot q zero, which is the top of the priority queue.
First element of the priority queue.
First.
Not zero means what? Zeroth index element in that list, right? Queue is a list. I mean, list as a priority queue we are pushing.
Oh, so
Got it?
from left you are seeing the for element to be pushed, and from top you are seeing the element to be popped.
Hmm.
Okay, I think
It's a bit slight confusing. I mean, I am also getting confused at one place, like in the index.
Why? See, if you look at your your comments, they are very clear, right? So when you
Yeah,
are doing that, the first one, self.q, what it says, if there are still available stack to insert the plate,
but
right?
how will this queue of zero say that it is full? Like let's say I inserted two first, right? So in my priority queue, one I'll insert. I mean the index number of this zero I'll insert, right? Because I'm pushing. Now next time let's say three I'm inserting. So but I'm not updating. Index is zero. This is zero only. But how it knows that queue of zero and the length of the stack is same? The numbers are different, right? I mean this
Let's
is zero.
see. Length of stack. Okay, so length of stack is the complete length of stack in that case when they are all full,
So
right?
length of
No, no, listen, listen. So if you have filled, if your stack capacity was 2 and you filled in 1, 2, and 3, 4, so you have stacks 2 completely full, right? So now
this,
when you are actually going to push in, your stack index should be 3.
I didn't get this is wait, let's go from beginning once. Like this is the initial zero stack, okay, and this is my queue. So I pushed element one into this, and I pushed the stack number here. It's correct till now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you'll push two here, right? Now shall I push again this zero? I won't be pushing. I'm not pushing anywhere, right? So how will you know that zeroth element? I mean, first element of this is equal to the length of this stack to make sure that it's full. Now we need to go for the
Check
next block.
by pushing the element. So when you are pushing it here, in the while loop is always there. So whenever that reaches your leftmost element, reaches its
Mhm.
capacity, you are popping it out. So at this time, when you push 2, equal to its capacity, so you'll pop this element 0 out.
So he
No,
says
but
that self.q0 is smaller than the current size of the stack, right? The second condition.
yeah, yeah, but still how it is checking that? Is this line checking or what? I mean, it takes zero and go to the top of the stack. Okay, got it. So he's taking this zero element and goes to this stack,
Because
right?
that will be the first element, no?
First element. Okay, got it. Yeah. and there he's checking 2 is equal to 2, and he
We are always popping it out whenever there is a
So the
whenever.
third condition has to check if it has reached the capacity. If it has reached the capacity, you just pop it out.
pop it out. Now got it. It
So
was,
that bookkeeping you have to do. Even if it's a corner case, you still have to do all that code. You have to write it because it won't pass all the test cases.
But here I'm getting one conflict here only. Like, okay, even though we are popping the full elements out from left and we are uh, using the topmost index, which is on the right for the pop operations. But at one point it will collide, right? I mean, like I'm removing all the indexes that are full, but I am using that same priority queue to decide the index of the element that I'm using for the pop.
But the pop should take care of the bookkeeping there too, right?
pop it's, I mean, are you talk? I think you are getting confused with the index within the stack. I mean, it's not within the stack. Stack number is the index. Pop itself will pop by default will always pop from the top of the stack. You don't need any index in that. If pop of 0 they are writing, that means 0 number stack and pop the top
See,
of it.
okay, I understand your questions are very valid, but frankly, if you really don't implement this, because you won't understand it, because you will come to many test cases and then you will start realizing how things are to be implemented. So it's very important you implement it by yourself so you will understand. So at least from this discussion, you come to know what data structures you have to use and how you have to use. So the challenges and all these, even if he has written a very efficient code, so therefore it will always confuse you. I would say it is better implemented because I was also stuck a lot and it took a long time for me to understand. So I had to do it twice, the implementation. Okay. So in some cases, if you don't properly implement, you hit on a TLE also, which is a very weird test case, but it happens. So it's not an easy code. It's not an easy problem.
Yeah.
So it is always good. So at least take that as a reference and just implement the whole problem from scratch. Don't look at the code. Then you will come to know really all these details.
Okay. Can you just once go to your pop at stack? I just want to see one thing.
Go ahead.
Mm. Cool. You are removing it from your left side and putting it on the right when you are popping it. Okay, now it's clear. Got it.
Yeah, he is doing everything at pop and stack.
Yeah.
He's keeping the pop very, yes, so yeah,
The left side, and whenever he's popping, he's updating the topmost elements of the heap.
right.
Okay. I think we gave more than an hour for this.
Yeah, I think let's move to the next one now
Yeah.
because that is also a difficult one. Even if it's a simple one, it's not so simple.
There's some question in the chat. Okay,
No,
awesome.
someone has put a video and is
Thanks.
actually saying follow the video for the problem. He's saying, yeah, but that's,
Yeah.
You can share it in Discord. Okay, we'll check it.
that's fine.
Might miss it. Okay, so this is like a beautiful array, and beautiful array is like for some fixed length, an array A is beautiful if it is a permutation of integers such that for every I less than j, there is no k, where k is between I and j, and twice of this is equal to I plus j, right?
Mm-hmm.
Given and return any beautiful array. Okay, so they have given 4 and it exists. Let's say ijk. So your kth element is 1. So this is, it is 1, right? So you will go at the kth index. Oh, at least 1 they are saying. Only 1 we have to check, right? Not more than that. So
No,
if
no,
you
no.
take,
You have to check all the elements. They should not lie that follow that. Uh, so you see on this one, the line where they say such that a of k multiplied by 2 equals a of I and j. Yeah, that condition. That has to be checked for each and every
triplex.
element. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is not following. 1 into 2 is 2 and 2 is not equal to 4 plus 2, 6. So this is
Yeah.
following. Again, even this
Because
is
if it was 1, 2, 3, then it would not satisfy that beautifulness. So when you remove 2 bit from 1 to 3, okay. So because
Yeah.
1 to 3 adds to 4, so 2 multiplied by 2 will also be 4. So you need to remove 2. So 2 should not be between 1 and 3. So that is care they have taken.
In that case, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Same way here also, like
Yeah. And you can return any order and any value. It's not you need to return exactly the same output what is shown here.
or it could be multiple as 6 to.
Yeah, there will be multiple of things. Yeah. You can form many of these or combinations.
Yeah. So this looks like a backtracking again. If it follows this condition, you go like this, otherwise you backtrack and then go for the next, right?
Well, if you do backtracking, that will be one way of doing it, but there will be many combinations to follow, no? So
Yeah.
usually you see backtracking, if your constraints are within reach, in fact, they are here also, right? N is 1000. But the number of combinations you will have to do to check this condition, there will be many. They'll be huge, right? That might be an exponential way of doing it.
There, yeah.
Therefore, yeah. So backtracking is nothing but a recursion, and you want to actually remove earlier path what you just explored. Okay. So
Yeah.
the same recursion we can actually use a sort of a dynamic programming way, because we are exploring all the paths now in this case, right?
Possibilities, yeah.
Yeah. So there might be some overlapping sub problems, and therefore you use a top-down approach, then that will work. At least that will give some optimum
Solution.
time complexity. Yeah.
I don't know what I've done.
Yeah. So in that case, yeah, so exactly this is the way you can do. Okay. So you'll have to actually follow some.
Pattern kind of.
Yeah. So what they are doing most of the time is actually because so if you have two odd values, if you add them, okay, two add values, odd values like 1 and 3, if you add them, that can form a even value.
Even number, yeah. Or
Right.
plus
So
or
that even number, if you have another even number, if you divide that, so you are able to find that number. So that is what the sequences we want to avoid for that beautifulness. So if that what it comes to, if you separate odd and even separately, so then at least to some extent you try to avoid that condition. Okay. But it doesn't fully avoid. So there has to be a distancing between them also, and the distancing should be based on the power of 2. Right. So in the
Yeah.
case when it is 1 and 3, the distance is 2. Right. So if we keep on going increasing as this input size, so the my distance between that will also increase with the power of 2. If your size increases, like if you go from 4 to 5, then I think your size will increase more. And again, if you go from 5 to 6 and 6 to 7 and all that, so your that difference will keep on increasing, and therefore they are using this recursion way of doing it. Okay, so first you actually take all the evens or the odd, whatever the way you want, and then you do a recursion in this case.
Yeah. And then you segregate the odd and evens.
Well, then you actually fill in those values, because initially if you are recursively doing it, you go to the end, so you're left with only single value. Okay, so that will be part of either even or odd based on what you're looking for, and then you will make that odd and even choices, and then you will move ahead, right?
Yeah.
So at least you will have, so the subset way what we were actually creating using that backtracking sort of problem, correct?
Yeah.
So to some extent it is like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here I don't know. So in this case, it works for you doing that without using a memoization, but memoization is required in most of the cases. What at least I did in C++. Okay, or either you can do a iterative way also. Okay, so I don't know if you are able to do it in Python, then it is fine.
It's passing, yeah.
Yeah, but for C++, I had to use memoization.
Oh, otherwise it will hit DL, right?
I don't know. I didn't try it without that, but at least it is giving a very optimal time complexity.
Right. Let's go
So
through
the
that.
only challenge becomes because how do you memorize it, right? Because for each and every value of n, so what you have to memorize is you'll have, because you're returning an array of numbers, right? So how do you memorize that? So therefore, that is a challenge. So, but that also can be done. You'll have to use a huge memo data structure. So that should be fine. At least it works because the size is not so big, right? 1000.
See it there.
I actually did not follow this. Like we want to try to find a beautiful array which is like not meeting this condition. 8k into 2 is AI plus HA.
Yeah. So it actually boils down to that. If you remove odd and even separately, and you start filling them. So if you separate odd and even, and then you first push all odds and then the evens, so then you don't land into that problem, right?
You mean odd index or odd
No, numbers. We are just talking about numbers. So our input is just a number. Okay, that will be now. For example, one they are given in input as 4. So what? How many numbers you can from 4? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So out of those 1, 2, 3, 4, you take 2 and 4 separately and 1 and 3 separately, and then you concatenate both of them 2, 4 and 1, 3. Okay, so then that satisfies the beautifulness. Is it not?
Mhm.
I'll just annotate it here. Okay. So if my input is 4, right? So I have what I have my choices 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So in order to avoid this condition of like 2 into 2, right? So 2 into 2. This was my 2. This 2, right? Is equal to 1 plus 3. So now 1 and 3 are these values. 1 plus 3. So I'm just taking, so this 2 is always to be multiplied. That is a different test case. And so this is the 2 which I'm talking about, this one, and these are the 1 and 3, right? So these are I and j values. So this is I, right? And this is the j, and my k is 2, correct? This is my k. So if my k is between I and j, so this is not a beautiful one. So in that case, what an observation I can make is, if I have two of these odds, 1 and 3, there may be many observations, but a basic observation what I make is, if I have 1 and 3 like this, if I add both of them, they both are odd, right? If I add both of them, they become even. And if I multiply any even number like this by 2, so I'm able to get this non-beautiful sequence, correct? So
That is
what
odd
if,
plus odd is even and 2 into even is even. Yeah.
right? So what if I just remove 1 and 3 separately? Okay. Okay. So I just push 1 and 3 first, and then I push 2 and 4. So I avoid that condition now, right? So my 2 is not between 1 and 3. So now it becomes a beautiful array, right? So there might be a case also, like if I'm using two evens, okay, I think it is 2 and 6, 2 and 4. Okay. So in that, if I have an odd element like 3, so that is also not beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So 3
Because
multiplied by 2
6.
is 6, and 2 plus 4 is 6. So I have to avoid that. So what that boils down to is remove all the odds and evens, separate them, okay, and then concatenate. So I'm just removing both of them like this,
Yeah.
1, 1, 3, and 2, 4.
Okay.
Right. So that is what he's trying to do here by removing separate odd and evens always.
What are we doing at line number 11?
We are copying the entire even array to the odd. I mean, in the odd variable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Python slice operation. To do that.
Okay. Mhm.
Why are we doing this recursion then? It's a simple.
No, it's not that simple. See, I'm just explaining because I'm taking a very base case, right? 4 and 5, they're very easy ones. But if you keep on increasing the numbers, okay, so you'll land in some situation that even if you add odd and even, you'll get some number, okay, which is in between that. So at every stage, you will have to go recursively and start building from the bottom side with the lowest element. Like here, if you see, he comes to the base case as n is equal to 1. He starts building from 1, size 1, then 2, 3, 4, like that. So if you do it exactly the way it is, so every time you are not actually looking for, now I'm showing you this is an odd and even, right? But if you actually go and break down this problem here, so whatever elements now you are forming here, okay, in this case, 1, 3, 2, 4, they will be added for the next level of operations. So now in this case, when you are actually separating this, so 1 and 2, okay, so they will form an odd even though 2 is not an odd, right? So in this case, you will have 3 and 4 as an even, okay? And in this case, 3 is not an even. So if you just imagine that way, using the base case of 1, and then keep on building on that, okay? So at every time, whatever the element is at position 0, okay, will be my even. Whatever element is at position 2 is my even, but need not be the values will be the same. They won't be odd and even always. They will be different values. But if you use that concept and keep building it, then you will get you will satisfy this beautifulness rule.
So in case of 1, 2, 3, 4, we first separated as 1, 3 and 2, 4.
Right.
So what is wrong with just using 1, 3, 2, 4?
Yeah, but if you build for a bigger one, no, so it won't be like that. So you'll land into different other numbers, other sequences, which will actually not follow this beautifulness. So you'll have to remove them also. So you'll have to have like here you have 1 and 3, okay, the difference is 2. So in some cases the difference will increase from 4, so it will be 1, and then you will have something like 4,
6.
it will be 5, right? Something like that. Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
yeah, something like that. So that difference will keep on increasing, and the more numbers you take, it will keep widening. So therefore, if you just follow this way they are doing it, okay, every time you actually divide that between odd and even, then actually you get the real values. But frankly, you will have to go and dry run through each and every test case or put a debugger and try to understand it. Then actually it makes sense, because I also initially was very confused with this problem. It's not a straightforward. You want to understand, but if you take example 1 and 2, that is enough to build your solution. But if you take more example, you will get more confused. But just take 1 and 2 example, what is in their description, and then start working on it. So rest of the thing, the code will take care of it. But if you want to observe how it goes, you put a breakpoint and look in that.
But
Yeah.
so in case
It's
of
not an easy problem.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we take 1, 3, 5 and 2, 4.
Right.
That will give me odd numbers and even numbers.
Mhm.
After that, we further have to separate. I mean, how are we separating that 1, 3, 5 again and 2, 4? Because they are already odd even. We are distinguishing based on odd evenness.
It's not, see, it's even if he's writing odd and even, it doesn't mean that every time you will get all the elements as odd and all the values won't be odd and even always, because we are not checking that anywhere. He's just giving a name, his name like odd and even
So is it
for
the
your particular.
index or the element itself?
Sorry, what was the question?
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So are we saying the odd index, separate odd indexes and even indexes?
Right,
Or
it's almost like that. You can say we are actually separating based on their index,
In the
right?
same Yeah.
You are dividing the array by 2 here. You are dividing the array by 2 by 1. So you will take odd number of values here. So when you do that, and then if you look at this, when you are actually filling them, okay, so the way you are filling, so you look at the index I multiplied by 2 multiplied by I minus 1. Okay, and in this case, you are actually placing that particular value, whatever you get from these evens and odds from this particular recursive function, you are placing that at different indexes, right? So they are actually placed at odd and even indexes, but the values won't be odd and even always.
Makes sense.
We are placing twice of I minus 1 and twice of I. What is I here? I is
I
odd.
for every element in the odd. I mean, you took the original list and you separated into odd and even, right? Now you iterate through every element of the odd, and then multiply 2 into odd minus 1. Because 2 into odd, that is what A of k, they are saying, right? A of k is equal to A of I plus A of j. And 2 into any odd number will always give you the even, right? So at that odd list is also containing even numbers. So that's why minus 1 we are doing to make it odd. Let's say 3 is odd, right? 3 to 2 is 6. How will you make it odd? Minus 1 you do it with 5.
3, 4, 5 example.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5 is there. So 3 and 5 will take in one list, right? 3 and 5 will take in one list and 4 will go in other list. So 3 and 5, if you multiply by 2, what it will be? 6 and 10. Now this is not an odd. How will you make it odd? Minus 1 you'll subtract from both of them, right? So 5, so 10 will become 9 and 6 will become 5. 5 and 9 you'll have in your odd list. And 4 will be, and 2 into 4 is 8, will be in the even list.
Just a second.
It's one question. I is not an index in this case. On line
No, I not the index. I is the numbers in that list, odd list. I mean,
Okay.
odd list. Yeah.
In my implementation, I'm using an index and I'm placing that index.
It's almost same as index only. If your array is one based index, no, because they have given length as 4, right? So it's if your index is 1, 2, 3, 4, your numbers will also be same only. You can treat it like an index also, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think it's index only if you say, but here the code is like every element we are taking from the list, which is
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
index only.
this implementation is also correct, but it's a
Yeah.
different way of implementing because I used that index, so I was more prone to that
No,
ideology. Yeah, it's okay. It has many ways to implement, right? This one, and
yeah, yeah.
it is at least so because you are using without memoization, I'm using both of these memoized versions and also an iterative version. Yeah. Yeah, so this is not an easy
Yeah.
problem to come up with. Yeah, if your n size keeps on increasing, then it's very confusing.
Yeah, for
I still am not sure. I mean, from the discussion, whether we are using it or
let just in interest of time, let's move forward and then we can take it after that.
Yeah, so for you to understand, you actually, if you look at the problem description, can you just go to the problem description for a minute, Shashank, please? Yeah. See, on this line, okay, I have that annotation working. If you just follow this, okay, this rule, that's the only thing you have to be concerned of.
Hmm. Every case,
So yeah. So also you look for this k, these two things. So your k should not be between I and j, if this condition is satisfied. If you are able to avoid that, then you're done. You don't have to worry about anything else. So how do you do that? That whole implementation is way Shashank was doing. So you
overall,
can
you
do
have
it
to
in
remove
other
the
ways. Yeah. Mhm.
event triplets. Event triplets you have to remove, if you can think like that.
Yeah.
Because AI and AJ, both of them will always be odd, right? And odd plus odd is even, and 2 times of this
Mhm.
AK is always even. So this will also be even. You have to remove that part. I mean, in layman, if you say.
yeah, I understood that we don't want that those kind of numbers which will give us. So we want to separate that. That's the whole idea. We are basically dividing, right? Dividing the array and then seeing like at the end we are combining the two parts.
Yeah.
So here, what I did not get is how we are dividing it. Like, um, and you are putting some elements, right? 2 into I minus 1 into the odd and 2 into I into the even to make it as um, not in this criteria.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is what Santosh said, that he's segregating odd and even into two different lists, right?
Mhm. So if you understand, I'll just show you one iterative solution that might slightly make you better, but not clearly going to remove your confusion. But it's a very valid thing, and it took a lot of time for me to understand, and I'm still not. I won't be able to clearly explain you, but let's walk through one of these implementation here. Okay. So here, okay, sorry, these are the memorized version. So this is the version what I'm talking about. It's an iterative version, right? So in this case, okay, so this is my signature, okay, and this is my array of size 1, okay, and it has only one value now, nothing else, okay, and this is my while loop. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for the size of this particular array. It should be less than my size n, my n value. That is the only while loop is doing here. So now inside this while loop, I am creating a temp array, which I am assigning, copying the whole res value to here. So this is my temp will be exactly the same as res, and I'm clearing the res result for now. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to this temp size array again and trying to rebuild the odd and even. Okay. So I take whatever the value is here, okay, and that value I create. In this case, I'm creating all the odd values. So for each and every element in this one, okay, I'm trying to create all the odd values and push it in my this current whatever that res value will be, this main array. Same thing I'm doing here again. Okay, in this case, I'm using the same values of that temp. Okay, and then I'm creating all the even values based out of it, right? And then I'm again pushing back in the rest. So when I do that, again I come to this. So if my whatever my size is still not satisfied with the n, okay, I do the same process again. Okay, so initially if I have one, okay, what I'm trying to do. So if I have only one here, so what I'm trying to do here is actually trying to create 1 into 2 minus 1. So I'll still create 1 over here, okay, and then I'm coming here, and then I'll actually multiply 1 by 2, so I'll be having 2, right? So now my rest value will be 1 and 2, correct? So this will be my first iteration. So now still 1 and 2 is lesser than n because the size is only 2. So then I come here, and then my rest value here will be 1 and 2 now in this case, right? So I'll just remove these two again, okay? So again I do the same process, okay? So when I do this 1 and 2, I come here, again I create odd and even value. So for 1 I create another odd value, which will be 1, correct? So then I go for 2. 2 into 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So I create 3 here. So then I come for this guy here. I say 1 into 2 will be 2, right? And 2 into 2 will be 4. And then I append all of them together, right? So it will be 1, 3, 2, 4 like this, right? So now
Yeah.
this value actually will come here. Okay, I'm just showing you because if you go ahead, how it happens and how it differs, right? So this is the value here, okay, and then I remove this one now for now, and then I restart the whole process. Now you see how they are changing from the odd and even positions. Okay, so now I have 1, 1, 3, 2, 4. Okay, so now I come here. So for 1, I still have 1 because 1 into 2 minus 1 will be 1, correct? So I go to 2, 3. So 3 into, because this is the 3 here, right? So I take this 3. 3 into 2 is 6. 6 minus 1 will be 5, correct? So now you observe the difference between this 1 and 5. It is 4. Earlier, between 1 and 3, it was 2, correct? So 2 into 2, that is 4 now. So that is difference of 4. So okay, so when I'm done with this 3, so then I go for 2. So 2 into 2 is 4, minus 1 will be 3, right? So 4 into 2 will be 8. 8 minus 1 will be 7. So I'm just forming this value over here, and then again I'll be multiplying all of these by 2's. So this will be 2, then this will be 6, right? Then this will be 4 and this will be 8. Okay, and then I'm actually concatenating this one. So this will be before this values. So this is the way I keep on constructing this range. Okay, so even if I have some of these odd and even values mixed, it should not be a problem. So here actually it is doing it. Okay, so it's completely separating all. But even if you look at the odd and even values, they are placed in such a way that the difference here, it is 4 difference. So the next value, whatever is remaining in the odd, and the other value, the difference is 4 now. Same thing happens for the even also. 2 and 6 is 4, 4 and 8. So now for the next iteration, if I pick the whole thing again, so the differences will be 8 now. So between 1 and this will be 9 in that case. So the value keeps on growing. The difference actually between, so if you maintain that difference, then you get, but still whatever the results what they are showing, it won't be exactly the way it is here. So you can return in different ways. So there are different ways to implement it. So this is one of the way. Okay, so these guys who are following, even Shashank was following, it won't be exactly the way it is, because he though even he is separating all these odd and even, but he is mixing them when he's doing a recursion. But here I'm actually keeping all of these separate. But this is one way of doing it. Okay, but that also works and this also works. At least to some extent you understood, right, why they are actually separating the odd and even.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Let's switch to
Uh,
next
can
slide.
you explain your recursive? So go through your recursive solution also once.
Thing. You'll post it in the Discord, right? And then you,
Recursive is more different actually. The implementation is, it won't have the same thing always.
yeah, you can share. You want to share on the?
No, no, no. Yeah, it's
Okay.
almost the same similar way what you are doing, but I'm using a memoized version. I just said that the recursion what you are showing
Yeah.
won't have the same implementation, but I was just trying to show you how actually they are forming those beautiful arrays.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this is like replace elements with the greatest element on right side. So so we are given an array and we have to replace every element in that array with greatest element among elements to the right and replace last element with minus. It's more of a monotonic stack kind of, right? But like for 17, 18 is the highest, and for 5, 6, 6, for 4 also 6, for 6 it will be, for
Well,
6, 5.
is it a monotonic stack? First of all, I also initially thought of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, not exactly, but we have solved many problems like next greatest element, next smallest using monotonic stack, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
makes sense
I
actually.
think,
What you said, that was a very reasonable choice.
yeah,
But yeah, but it's not that difficult also. Yeah, we could use a very simplified version of monotonic stack.
yeah, with
Uh,
some very extra bookkeeping. I'll
hmm.
show you here.
Because initially I started with that, it took time, and then I left it. I said, "Oh, this is not working." Then something actually came to my mind. When I looked at this implementation, oh, sorry, this explanation or example one,
Yeah,
then I realized, right?
yeah.
So it is very simple implementation basically, correct?
Now, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think,
So you do exactly the way they are saying there.
yeah, so I
Right,
took,
exactly this one.
okay. Like from backside, I'm checking and
Yeah. So
updating action.
like the way we do for the cumulative sum or the prefix sum, right? So you do it from the back side, but in this case, we just looking for the max so far always.
Okay, I see. Okay. Actually, one guy also asked this question in the Discord, and it was a real interview.
Who?
In real interview question.
Yeah, it should be, because
Yeah.
it becomes tricky sometimes, because when you just throw this problem at someone, as we both started with the monotonic stack way, right? So we might go in a very wrong direction, right?
I
Yeah, yeah,
initially that idea. Yeah.
correct. So, but then if you really think, well, and you're more focused on it, look at the example and the test cases, then you can make it out. It's like the max so far is much better choice, and it's more easier to implement now. Yeah, of course, there are some corner cases like you have to insert that -1 at the very last one, and then you have to throw the very first value, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
So this has to be in place, right?
It's in place only.
Not so, actually, not so required. I don't think so. Why? They have not said anything like that. You should be
In,
prepared to do it both ways.
I'm not using any extra space.
You're not using, that's fine. But if he says that you don't use the same input stack, because in C++, if it has a reference, and if I do use that, I'll be changing my input value, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a reference. So I would prefer not to use it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no harm. You can just copy into some different array and do it. That also works.
Today's problems are awesome. No doubt at all.
Yeah, the other two, the stack problem was slightly easy, at least